After studying music production for over 10,000 hours, and some of my students have won Grammys, work with the top artists in the world: Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, Lil Baby, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. The list is really, really long. After 10,000 hours of just understanding music production, it's come down to these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points that you guys have to understand if you truly want to become masters at this very fast. So the first thing is understanding your DAW limitations. Like, for example, FL Studio has a quieter volume than Logic's Pro default volume. For example, I would have to turn up my master volume about 6 dB to get to the beginning volume of a Logic Pro. So that alone creates a difference in the way we perceive sound, which means you're going to be pushing sounds harder because you got to get them louder. So just small little differences like that. Understanding that FL Studio stock plugins are cool. They're not the greatest. You're not going to get they call it bread and butter sounds in FL Studio, like your keyboard, your bass, your guitars, all the kind of basic instruments. You're not going to really get that without a bunch of add-ons to FL Studio. So just understanding the DAW limitations, like FL Studio is a great canvas. That's pretty much what it is. It's the greatest piano roll so far, and it's the greatest canvas so far. And understanding you're not going to get like a super pro sound out of the default stock plugins for the mixing, for example. Again, after training over 1 million students in FL Studio and music theory, I've seen the patterns with FL Studio, and I could tell you guys there's a lot of limitations that you don't know until you get to that point later down the line. So just understand the DAW's limitations. And basically what I'm saying is, don't try to shine, a random rock into a diamond. You have to kind of find a diamond as is, and then you shave it down. You're not going to find a random rock outside and turn it into a diamond. And that's what most people try to do with stock stuff. Okay. What I recommend for beginners and intermediate people is just take 1 to 2 days and simply just go seek sounds. Like, go on the internet and look up every drum break, every drum kit you could find. Go on Reddit, look for their curated drum kits. Go on YouTube, look for their samples. Go to samplet.io. Go to Hip Hop is Red. Go to forums to look for all the plugins that people like, and just take 1 to 2 days to just gather sounds, because 90% of the time, you guys don't sound like the pros because you're trying to use a stock sound that's built for like house drums, and you're trying to convert it into a trap kick, and it's just not the right kick. You're just using the wrong sample. And it's just going to take you time until you find that exact kick you're looking for, the exact 808. So I'd recommend you guys, I do have a free kit with my go-to sounds. Just go to busyworksbeats.com just go to busyworksbeats.com and sign up. It's completely free. And I have a go-to kit that has all my go-to sounds. It's basically like the top 8 sounds out of all my terabytes and terabytes of sounds. All right, so here are my go-to sounds. I have an 808, snare. All right, and then I have a whole pack of 808s for you guys. Okay, so that's in my go-to. I think it's like 100 808s or something like this. That's in my go-to kit. Just go to busyworksbeats.com. When you sign up for free, you'll have access to the free downloads tab. So it's just take a whole day, like literally 1 to 2 days, and just discover sound and research sounds, because sounds are your ingredients. And if you don't have the right ingredients, you're not going to create the right perfume or the right meal. I can't make a Chick-fil-A sandwich with peanut butter and jelly. You got to go and find the chicken, find the parsley or whatever else goes into a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Okay, now the next thing I'd recommend you guys use is a MIDI controller, because clicking in notes can get you far enough in FL Studio, but there's a big difference in performance. And I could show you guys quickly, not to like harp on this one point, but let's just create some kind of chord progression here. And you're also going to think differently when you play stuff by hand. You're going to be thinking about your music theory in a much different way than simply just clicking in notes, because clicking in notes doesn't give you a realistic approach all the time. And it's not your fault. It's just how we think, producing sideways versus vertical. Anyhow, so here's a piano, for example. And normally I would just, figure out the chords for this, it's kind of stack these up, do something like this. Okay. And then maybe let's copy this over. And let's make this a suspended second chord. You don't need to memorize all this. I teach all this music theory at busyworksbeats.com in our music theory bundle. Okay, so something simple like that. Now, if I'm playing this by hand, I might play with more attitude, more movement, more flawed timing. That's my keyboard you guys hear in the back. So let's compare mine with just those 2 simple chords. Let's record this. I'm even going to leave the flawed timing in here. Let's just compare that basic thing. I didn't even really do anything crazy, just 2 chords. Let's compare that with the default way people click in notes. Let's just see if there's a difference. Here's my take. Here's the computerized take. See how everything feels flat? Okay, so that is a consequence of guys not understanding the difference between MIDI and just drawing in notes because they simply don't know. But there's a very, very, very big difference in the way you perform your chords and your melodies simply by playing them in. My take was more like boom, boom, and the computer was like boom, boom. There was no movement, there was no transient, there was no energy to it. And that's why you guys' beats sound flat. So it's not like trying to figure out a mixing technique to make the beat sound more dynamic. It's literally the MIDI notes are not even dynamic. So you can't make something dynamic that isn't dynamic at the source. So let me teach, from beginners to intermediate, I've created a system and I've discovered the system. This is my original system. Okay, so if you see other people using it without crediting, you know where they got it from. So this is a 4-component system. This is called the top line. This is your memorable melody. Then you run into what's called the harmony section. This is your chords or the glue to the track. You have the contrast layer. This is your bass or your counter melody. And you have the rhythm section, which is your timing of the track. If you ever suffer with beat block, it's probably because you're overly filling one of these categories or you simply don't have all 4 categories. What we can do here, I'm just going to show you guys quickly because we don't have time to be making an entire beat. But let's record this in at 140. Now I'm going to play chords, which is the harmony, but I'm also going to play the contrast, meaning I'm going to play this lower octave in the bass. So I'm basically creating a contrast layer as I'm playing chords. So let's record this in just to show you guys how fast this stuff is. Let's record this. Okay, so I'll leave those flaws in there. So this is both the harmony and the contrast section because we have that lower frequency in here and we have the chords. Now let's create a top line. Now top line, I go deeper with this in my melody course, but just go to busyworksbeats.com, look for the music theory bundle. So now I'm just gonna freestyle up and down the keys here. I think starting at D was our root note. And we're just gonna play D minor. I forgot in FL Studio. We gotta do it again because this overdub was turned off. Okay, here's where we switch keys. So I'm just gonna leave that top line in. Now that recorded on part 1, so this is, I've infused the melody with the actual chords, which was not my intent. So now we have the top line. Let's move this to a new pattern so that we can visually see on the board here. So you guys can see how fast I'm moving without all these little steps and teaching you every little thing. We already have the song halfway done. Really, we have the song fully done because we have the rhythm in here. All we gotta do is add drums. Now I'm just gonna add dummy drums. These are not supposed to be the craziest drums in the world, y'all. So this is just showing you how fast we can make a beat or an idea in FL Studio. So let's just add these drums. And again, I'm doing a lot of shortcuts. This is not supposed to be a Grammy winning track right now. Okay, so let's add the rhythm section. Let's add our snare in here. Layer it with this clap. So this is my 4-component system and it always works. It always sounds good. Let's add the kicks in here. It's gonna do basic Trecio kick. We already have a song just like that. Again, with mixing and more production. couple adjustments here. I'm also gonna record more of the top line here. All right, so just adding that in. So now we have the full top line. And did I pause and use a plugin to figure this out? I didn't use any AI. This is all a process, guys, that I teach you, and it always works all the time. Let me take it even further. Let me show you guys how to group your sounds in the mixer. So here's another thing, is once you understand those 4 components, let's group this into a group. Here's what I like to do nowadays is I'll take all the sounds grouped in the group, turn them down about 9 dB, and I'll go to the beat mix, for example, add Parametric EQ2, turn it up on the left side by like 9 dB. So what is it's equivalent to me turning up my headphones, basically, so that sounds appear louder than they actually are. And this is an easy way to level you guys' beats. So I can see I'm clipping here, which doesn't really matter right now. We can get into the whole thing about how to mix, but mixing in a group, just simply turning up that EQ gain and then turning everything else down can help you guys level way faster. Let's just mix into a soft clipper for now. And we can also use this gain knob as like a drive signal to crush the signal even more for more crunch. And then we can level it back out with another EQ. Just those 3 plugins, that soft clipper and just an EQ. Now, another thing I want to point out is that a lot of people who are in FL Studio, they think they know it all, and you know, including myself sometimes. And the thing is, we are, let's say, intermediate level, and we think we're advanced, or vice versa, you know, whatever. We're beginner level, we think we're intermediate. We're like, if I had to grade everybody, a lot of people are level 3 out of 10. No matter how good people are, they think they know so much, but they're really a level 3, and they think they're level 8. They think they're level 5. So they'll skip the videos that actually teach them the next step. And that's why I created the Music Producer Path, to guide you guys step by step, so you don't overinflate. It's called arrogance, actually, to overinflate your skills. This is a huge thing I see, is that people, they think they're know-it-alls, and they skip over learning. And once you stop learning, you're never going to advance. You're going to be trapped in a box. It's like you might learn how to make trap beats in one video, but this system is good for R&B. It's good for classical sounds. It's good for pop. It's not just trap. Whereas other tactics are very trap specific. And then when you try to go into R&B, you're like, why am I'm slamming my acoustics into a Fruity Soft Clipper. It's not working. That's because you know, there's different ways to go about different genres. But this 4-component system always works. And lastly, you know, I'll just say that music theory is super, super, super underrated, but super powerful. So I'll even clone this, and I'm going to add in chords that aren't even in the key, but they're going to feel like they're from the key. So I'm going to go out of key on purpose, is what I'm saying here. So, you know, so I basically played, I would have to redo the notes here, but let's play D. So I went out of key on purpose right there. If I started at A, which was what I was playing. Okay, so this is music theory, understanding the power of dominant chords, going out of key on purpose, purposeful dissonance, going out of key on purpose with a melody. There's so much to learn, and I'm going to leave you guys off on just studying more. Go to busyworksbeats.com. You guys can sign up for free. You'll also get a ton of project files for free. But I want you guys to really take these lessons from over 10,000 hours. I can't even calculate how many hours we spend on FL and music production alone, but take this knowledge, and then the strongest thing you guys can learn is this 4-component system. All right, guys, I have so much more, but I'll end this video here. Thank you. Share with a friend. Peace out, guys.